Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu salam ala Rasulullah. We'll continue reading from Imam Al-Ghazali's Jawah al-Quran wa Durar of the Juz al-Quran Spares. Still reading from Surah Al-Zukhruf. And the last session was practically about Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, Prophet Abraham. Some kind of comparison between the biblical narrative and that of the Quran. And some of the things that we have mentioned, that Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam was neither Jew nor Christian, rather he was inclined towards monotheism, a Muslim in the universal sense, not a follower of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. All the prophets were Muslim. All of the prophets, all the messengers of God, they submitted themselves to the will of God. ما كان إبراهيم يهوديا ولا نصرانيا ولكن كان حنيفا مسلما وما كان من المشركين. His the verse that we have here, we have a couple of verses, 26 and 27. Remember addressing Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when Abraham declared to his father and his people, I am totally free of whatever gods you worship. And we said his father, like in the story of Yaqub alayhi salam, when he was dying and he asked his children, what will you worship after me, after I die? They said, we will worship your Lord and the Lord of your fathers. And they mentioned here Abraham and Ishmael and Isaac, whereby the word father covers the uncle and covers the grandfather. What we have also about Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam is that in the Quran, in fact, this is the what all the prophets, with no exception, the call to the warning people, the call to their families and to the larger society to worship the one and only God, to abandon these idols that were predominant. And he was willing to pay the price, Prophet Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, by destroying the idols of his community. He did not run away. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved him when they threw him into a fire. They wanted to burn him alive. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreed that the fire would not harm him. يا نار كوني بردا وسلاما على إبراهيم. So if there was fire, because if there wasn't fire, then it will be a different. There was fire, and people who set the fire ablaze, they know that it should have burnt Ibrahim alayhi salam, but it didn't. And every time Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam survived one of these major tests, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewarded him. Thereafter, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewarded him with Ismail alayhi salam. And when he attempted to offer his son Ismail, the biblical narrative says it's Isaac. Of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala replaced the son with a ram, and this is why Muslims offer this offering during pilgrimage, during Hajj. But he was willing to. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he did the second test with Ismail alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewarded him with Isaac. And in the Quran, how do we know? Since the name of the son who was to be offered is not mentioned in the Quran, how do we know it's Ismail alayhi salam and not Ishaq, Ishmael, not Isaac? Because when the angels passed by Ibrahim alayhi salam, and they brought the good news that Sarah will have a child. That's Ibrahim and Sarah now. It was Ibrahim and Hagar. The good news came in double, that they will have a son whose name is Isaac, and they will have a grandson whose name is Jacob, which means that Isaac will live to be a man, get married, and have a son of his own. So he could not be tested. Now you might say, why all these? What's the source of all these differences? This is why we keep saying that the previous books they have suffered from the vagaries of transmission. They have been edited. As simple as that. And even your only son in Hebrew, Yehidcha, could be applied only to Ishmael after the birth of Isaac. None of them, of course, is his only son. Only Ishmael for 13 years was the only son, and thereafter none of them was the only son anymore after the birth of Isaac. Why it's important also that to mention that Ibrahim alayhi salam did not shy away from facing his community. No prophet ever shied away from the community. They were chosen and they had to face the community. Some of them paid with their life, with their own lives. They were killed, literally. There's a rabbi who said that they killed. Of course, the text is there. The Qur'an, of course, confirms this, but this rabbi says we have killed our prophets. Not all of them, of course. This is important because when Abraham came to the land of Canaanian, at one point there was a famine, and he went with Sarah to Egypt, and there he asked Sarah to say that the biblical narrative that she was his sister. Out of a sudden, Abraham is afraid. Out of a sudden, Abraham does not trust. He stopped basically calling people, including the Pharaoh, to the worship of God. At any rate, in one of these biblical verses, I think it's interesting to mention that in Genesis 21:34, and Abraham sojourned many days in the land of the Philistines, Palestinians. One should remember that Jericho is the oldest agricultural settlement in the world, 12,000 years old. There were no Jews and no Christians and no Muslims. But for thousands of years, one might speak about 9,000 years, we talk about Palestinians. And if you search who are the closest people genetically to the Jews, the first word that you will read there is the Palestinians. So much that one can share with and talk about in terms of the story of Abraham, but in the Qur'an, you'll find that Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam is relentless in terms of calling his people to the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then what is it that he left behind? وَجَعَلَهَا كَلِمَةً بَاقِيَةً فِي عَقِبِهِ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ. It's the tawheed, it's this kalima, in fact, in other cultures, Muslim cultures, the moment you say the kalima, it's about ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, and for us, of course, ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. But the issue, for Ibrahim alayhi salam, is it's about monotheism, it's about the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You will find in part of the biblical story that Abraham had hundreds of servants. He had gold and silver, that he had oxen and sheep and cattle, and that his shepherds did have a conflict with the shepherds of his nephew of Lot, Sayyidina Lut alayhi salam. That's a biblical story. That's not the concern of the Qur'an. بل متعت هؤلاء وآباءهم حتى جاءهم الحق ورسول مبين. In fact, I had allowed enjoyment for these Meccans, of course, and their forefathers until the truth came to them along with a messenger making things clear. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in the in the hadith had this world has this world's worth been even the equivalent of a wing of a mosquito, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would not have given the non-believers even a drink of water. But still, He provided them, gave them a chance. وَلَمَّا جَاءَهُمُ الْحَقُّ قَالُوا هَذَا سِحْرٌ وَإِنَّا بِهِ كَافِرُونَ. So the first fallacy here, that it is magic. The second claim to not to address the content, the issue, the message, which is the call to worship God and to abandon their idols and change their way of life, really. They started asking, why not the Qur'an being revealed to one of the great men, of the two cities here, they refer to Mecca and Taif. Taif has high mountains, literally very high mountains, and has cool weather and has agriculture today. They produce natural perfume from roses. I think it's more interesting for the hadith traditions written on the rocks in Taif. وقال لولا نزل هذا القرآن على رجل من القريتين عظيم. And they exclaimed, if only this Quran was revealed to a great man from one of these two cities. It's not up to them. أهم يقسمون رحمة ربك. Is it they who distribute your Lord's mercy? نحن قسمنا بينهم معيشتهم في الحياة الدنيا. We alone have distributed their very livelihood among them in this worldly life. ورفعنا بعض فوق بعض درجات ليتخذ بعضهم بعضا سخريا. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raised some of them in rank above others. so that some may employ others in service. وَرَحْمَةُ رَبِّكَ خَيْرٌ مِّمَّا يَجْمَعُونَ. But your Lord's mercy is far better than whatever wealth they amass. ولولا أن يكون الناس أمة واحدة لجعلنا لمن يكفر بالرحمن لبيوتهم سقفا من فضة ومعارج عليه يظهرون. Were not that people might be tempted to become one community of disbelievers, we would have supplied the homes of only those who disbelieve in the most compassionate, and they don't believe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We would have made them, provide them with silver roofs and silver stairways to ascend. ولبيوتهم أبواب وسرر عليها يتكئون, as well as gates and thrones to recline on. Of course, the context means that they are all silver. وزخرفا, and ornaments, could be of gold, could be, but although the context here is of about silver. وإن كل ذلك لما متاع الحياة الدنيا والآخرة عند ربك للمتقين. Yet all this is no more than a fleeting enjoyment in this worldly life, but the hereafter with your Lord is only for those mindful of Him. The Sayyidina Umar al-Khattab once saw the Prophet ﷺ. He saw him with a mat that was made out of hay, affecting, like leaving marks on the side of the Prophet ﷺ. So Umar al-Khattab cried, and Umar al-Khattab mentioned the Roman Caesar and the king of Persia, and the Prophet ﷺ was literally, it was extremely, he was extremely, anything that he had, he would distribute to the needy. And the Prophet ﷺ responded by saying that those are people whose share has been given to them in this life. And in a tradition mentioned in both Al-Bukhari and Muslim, the Prophet ﷺ said, he prohibited us, he said, do not drink nor eat in gold or silver plates or cups. Don't use gold or gold plated or gold whatever. They did not know the gold plated then, but it's the same. We mentioned this so that people will be careful. Or lined with gold. A prohibition for both men and women. It is prohibited for men to wear gold. It is prohibited for men to wear silk. These are very important things to remember. Muslims cannot be, and they should not be, extravagant in the use. It is very scary when you, I don't know who owns this toilet that is made from pure gold. Maybe there's more than one, but there was. This is something that I remember reading about and seeing a picture some time ago. This is scary. It's very scary. Gold and silver, they are meant to be exchanged like kind of money, of course, ornamental, No one says it is prohibited for women to wear something, but at the same time, you don't. It is scary when they make a car from gold, when they have uh, shoes designed, ornamented with pearls, and um, this is scary. This is scary. Then the narrative, of course, shifts into the those who do not mention, they do not remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They don't remember. ومن يعش عن ذكر الرحمن نقيد له شيطانا فهو له قرين. And whoever turns a blind eye to the reminder of the most compassionate, we place at the disposal of each a devilish one as their close associate. وإنهم لصدونهم عن السبيل ويحسبون أنهم مهتدون, who will certainly hinder them from the right way, the right path, the straight path, the path that leads to the favored destination in the hereafter, from the right way while they think they are rightly guided. حتى إذا جاءنا قال يا ليت بيني وبينك بعد المشرقين فبئس القرين. But when such a person comes to us on the day of judgment, one will say to their associate, to the qarin, to the devil, to the, I wish you were as distant from me as the east is from the west. What an evil associate you are. You were, in fact. وَلَن يَنفَعُكُمُ الْيَوْمَ إِذْ ظَلَمْتُمْ أَنَّكُمْ فِي الْعَذَابِ مُشْتَرِكُونَ. It will be said to both, since you all did wrong, sharing in the punishment will be of no benefit to you this day. This day, the day of judgment, of course. In this world, people are comforted when they hear of others who went through similar trials as them. But this will not be the case on Judgment Day. Everyone will be desperate to save themselves from the punishment, regardless of others. People will run away. People run away from their spouses, from their children. They are interested in saving their own skin. It's too late. You cannot basically. There's nothing you can do then. Inshallah, we'll continue with the with this context where addressing the Prophet ﷺ, it's not, can you make the deaf hear or guide the blind to those clearly astray? Even if we take you away, talking about death from this world, you surely inflict punishment. We will surely inflict punishment on them, or that he will witness the fulfillment of God's threat towards them, and the messages. Hold firmly to what has been revealed to you, the Saint Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We'll get to this inshallah during the next session بإذن الله عز وجل. Until then, سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.